Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, obviously enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everyone. Tonight is Thursday, August 20th, 2026. This is live stream 1354. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's super casual. We just hang out talking about the latest in tabletop role-playing game news, and then I will either tackle a topic or share a first look at a game. Every once in a while, I might even roll out a live review, but they are pretty rare. So tonight, because we are in the wake of Gen Con 2026, we're going to be doing another live first look. This time out, it is the Vast Grimm Starter Set from Infinite Black. So we are going to be taking a peek at this in just a bit. We'll mention if you're tuning in because you want to check out the first look at the starter set. We always tackle the tabletop role-playing game news first. So it'll probably be about 35, maybe 40 minutes if you happen to be watching live. Now, if you're watching after the fact, maybe you're even watching on Memorex, there will be timestamps, both in the show notes and, depending on the device you're watching this on, right there in the timeline of the video. So if you want to just jump right to that first look, you certainly can if you're watching after the stream has ended. If not, you're kicking back, relaxing with the rest of us. We will get there in a bit. Now, of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are never going to find here on YouTube. I promise you that. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Then, of course, because this is a live show, there is chat available. Now, you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least an hour before you can take part in chat. But if you check off that box and you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is our good friend of the show and chat moderator, the Madman. Semper Buffo is with us, as is Mark Hawkswell, Kathy Evans. Our other chat moderator, the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D, is chiming on in. Tessie Trekkie is also joining us tonight. So chat is off and running. Before we jump on into the news, I do want to wish my nephew Cameron a very happy 25th birthday. Yes, there was no show last night because we got together for his birthday last night because he had to work today. So today is his birthday, so I am throwing out birthday well wishes to him. All right, let's jump on into the news because the new Vegas setting guide has arrived for Fallout, the role-playing game, and I've got the scoop from Modiphius Entertainment. Money is the root of all evil. New Vegas is the shining jewel in the desert of the Mojave, an independent state controlled and owned by the wealthy, reclusive, and seemingly immortal Mr. House. It is a glittering oasis that draws in wanderers and wastelanders, chasing caps and trying their luck. Behind the walls, little is off limits, and those who play their cards right can find themselves riding high. But even the lucky can't afford to relax. Everyone knows how quickly the wind can change. Beyond the Strip, many factions from the NCR to the Brotherhood of Steel and Caesar's Legion have all fought to control the Mojave, only to be ground down by the wasteland's unending brutality. Hoover Dam became the epicenter of this conflict until Mr. House brokered an uneasy peace and cemented his control over the region. But power and peace are difficult to hold on to. The wasteland remains wild, its future uncertain, to be decided by the roll of a die. The New Vegas setting guide includes a wealth of information to add to your games, covering the iconic locations of the Mojave and its fascinating NPCs, as well as brand new weapons, armor, and character options. Within the 128-page full-color New Vegas setting guide, you'll find character options, including 2 new character origins, Courier and 3 families, 8 new character traits, 7 new perks, and an abridged version of the gambling rules originally found in Royal Flush. An in-depth guide featuring more than 25 iconic locations from Hoover Dam to the Mojave Outpost, with descriptions, loot, and quest hooks for each. 30 new weapons, including zap gloves and multi-class rifles, and 11 new clothing and armor options, such as the iconic NCR Ranger Riot armor. You'll find fully fleshed out stat blocks and special rules for the various personalities of New Vegas, plus companions, creatures, the NCR, and Caesar's Legion. This book does require the core rules, which are found in the Fallout the Role-Playing Game core rulebook. The 128-page hardcover with PDF will be arriving in September, carries an MSRP of $54, while the PDF is out right now over at Drive-Thru RPG for $14. That is a pretty nice deal for the PDF, I must say. Very cool. Good to see New Vegas finally get a full-fledged setting guide for Fallout, the role-playing game. There was the Royal Flush supplement, which came out, but it wasn't tackling everything from New Vegas. So very cool. Very cool. Moving right along, the Amazing Adventures Codex Monstorium has passed over 500% backer kit funding. That was in its first day. And I've got the skinny from Troll Lord Games. Troll Lord Games' newest monster book brings you over 140 brand new ready-to-play monsters for siege games like Castles and Crusades and Amazing Adventures. Inside, you'll find Lovecraftian horrors, aliens of all shapes and sizes and appetites, cultists, zombies, and more. Amazing Adventures is the next level of siege engine role-playing. Using the same celebrated rules as Castles and Crusades, this multi-genre role-playing game gives you a universal rulebook to capture any style of fantasy you want, with simple attribute check-based mechanics that are built for lightning-fast play that's also worlds of fun. Whether you're looking to portray musketeers and pirates in the 16th century, fearful colonists dealing with the dark unknown in the black forests of the New World, modern demon hunters fighting horrors of the deeper dark in the back alleys of cities, or explorers on the new frontier of deep space in the far-flung future, Amazing Adventures has what you need. The Codex Monstorium is the monster book for the Amazing Adventures role-playing game, and of course, once again, fully compatible with Castles and Crusades. This project is fully funded. You can reserve a copy of the hardcover with PDF for a $45 pledge. I believe it's going to have an MSRP of $50. You can also reserve a copy of the PDF alone for an $18 pledge through September 17th. As of right now, there is no fulfillment dates, but from my past experience, Troll Lord Games usually takes about a year to fulfill on their Kickstarters and backer kits. Now, things have changed a little bit printing-wise, so it might be a little bit quicker but I would take a guess. It's probably summer of next year. Just a guess. And to be fully transparent, I am sharing images from the Monsters and Treasure book for Castles and Crusades because there aren't any actual pages that are being shown for this. So I'm going to guess we're probably going to look at the same format as we have with other monster books for Castles and Crusades. All righty. Tessie Trekkie says that the Fallout book, the New Vegas book, is nice. They got theirs yesterday. Sweet. Shazama85 is joining us once again. I see Grouchy Lenny is with us tonight, too. Tessie Trekkie says their description is making me think of treating Lovecraft and the mythos as sci-fi instead of horror, a la Eldritch Skies. No, horror is actually one of the genres that Amazing Adventures is focused on, at least, the core books. So I wouldn't think I think it's just the way they presented it for this crowdfunding project. Just probably didn't word it the way you might look. Daryl Arrett has popped on in. Very nice. All right. How about a money-saving deal? Because the third edition of the Blue Planet role-playing game from Biohazard Games and Gallant Knight Games is the focus of a new bundle of holding, and I've got the deets on the deal. Adventure. This new Blue Planet Recontact bundle presents, anybody want to take a guess? Blue Planet Recontact, the new 2025 edition of the hard science fiction tabletop role-playing game from the aforementioned Biohazard Games, published by Gallant Knight Games, about humanity's precarious future on a distant water world. On the colony planet Poseidon in the year 2199, after the impoverished Earth reestablished its authority and discovers the priceless mineral Long John, political unrest and a hungry alien ecology threaten the colony. Incorporate mercenaries wage amphibious proxy wars. GEO marshals struggle to maintain peace, and native insurgents fight for their adopted world. On this wild, wet frontier, humanity faces a war of survival against an ancient alien legacy. Funded in an April 2021 Kickstarter campaign, it took that long for it to come out? Really? Because it says the 2025 Blue Planet Recontact Edition offers hard science fiction adventure on the contentious frontier of Poseidon, Earth's first extrasolar colony. The new Synergy Rules set is a modern evolution of the second edition, and Blue Planet's renowned reputation for scientific accuracy is upheld with Recontact's new technological, scientific, and sociological world building. For fans of media like Avatar and The Expanse, and novels such as Legacy of Herat, Songs of Distant Earth, and Kim Stanley Robinson's Mars trilogy, Blue Planet Recontact continues its decades-long exploration of colonialism and collapse. In a free zone of blighted 22nd century Earth, these Recontact rulebooks would cost you $60, adjusted for 2 centuries of inflation. But you pay only $14.95 to get both complete rulebooks in the Recontact collection as DRM-free PDFs. The 332-page Blue Planet Recontact Player's Guide and the 365-page Moderator's Guide, plus the pay-what-you-want quick start. These savings will run through September 7th. I have heard over the years that Blue Planet is a very cool setting. I do not know anything about the actual mechanics of the game. Keith Lewis says, dolphins with frickin' lasers. Tessie Trekkie says, orcas with torpedoes, cyberpunk with fins. Tessie Trekkie said, yep, they backed this, and yes, it took 3.5 years. There were issues. It's a great game and setting, but development took forever. So there you have it. That's I would say that's a pretty good deal. $15 for 700 pages, almost 700 pages of content. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Moving right along, the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game has a new supplement. And here's what I know about the Secret Wars expansion. Hey, wait a second. Wrong order there, Jeff. Wrong order. So let's go and jump to this. There we go. Anywho, everything you need to know about the Secret Wars expansion for the Multiverse role-playing game. Developed in-house, Marvel's D616 system features 3 6-sided dice that make the game accessible and easy to learn for both new and veteran role-playing game fans alike. Doom reigns supreme. The multiverse has been destroyed, and God Emperor Doom rules over its shattered pieces in a single patchwork planet, Battle World. Marvel Multiverse role-playing game Secret Wars expansion takes a deep dive into the event that changed Marvel forever, including an adventuring framework for players to fight their way through Battle World and save the entire Marvel multiverse. It also includes an exploration of the Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, Guardians of the Galaxy, and the vast Marvel cosmos, including new rules for how to handle rank X characters of unbelievable might. The 284-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $49.99. Its PDF is available right now over at DriveThruRPG for $29.99. And yes, Flint Fireforge is with us, says, Dr. Doom is so cool. In my opinion, I think Dr. Doom is comic book wise, not film wise to this point. Comic book wise, probably the best Marvel villain. That is my opinion. But then again, I grew up with my brother being a huge fan of Fantastic Four. Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, those were his two. I should say the Fantastic Four, because that's what the title is supposed to be. I don't know what happened with these comic book companies deciding that they just drop the off of their comic book titles. Like The Amazing Spider-Man suddenly was Amazing Spider-Man, although I think now it is back to being The Amazing Spider-Man. I will say, I thought the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game core rulebook was pretty good. I did review it, and kudos to Marvel and Matt Forbeck, because they are still releasing lots of stuff for the role-playing game. They've had a Spider-Man book come out. They've had an X-Men book come out. I think there's an X-Men book. I know there's an Avengers book. There have been some adventure campaigns. Not too shabby. And I think this is like super current because the whole Planet Doom storyline was just going on at Marvel. So I think this is like pretty much up to date with what's going on. Pretty wild. But then again, I mean, it is from Marvel. Sassy Trekkie says, back when comics were 25 cents an issue? Yes. In fact, I think comics may have been 20 cents an issue when we first got comic books at this corner drugstore that was not far from the apartment that we lived in Chicago. Yes. Flint Fireforge says, yes, they're also referring to the comic. They have no idea about the movies. Doctor Doom has been pretty lame as far as the films. Hey, we got Robert Downey Jr. though. So I know. We'll see what happens. Agile Monk says, yeah, they bought comics at 15 cents and then went up from there. Yes. Unbelievable. Comics now, the average comic is $4.99. Some are a little more than that. Some are like $1 less. But for the most part, the average comic is $4.99. Amazing. I remember when it was a big deal, it was like 35 cents. They were like 30 cents for a month. And then it was like 35 cents. It was like, what? They were just 25 cents. Now they're 35 cents. Yeah. All righty. An interesting adventure designed for old school essentials is out in print from Exalted Funeral. And I got the skinny on Tomb of Tog. A one-shot exploring the 8 schools of magic through the lens of a powerfully inept wizard. A town overrun with rabbits and on the brink of starvation offers its only clue to the source of its suffering, a book known as the Tome of Tog. Locals claim that titular mage has been a nuisance for years. The pages of the book have been torn out, save for a map that leads the party on a winding, hallucinogenic path through a dense wood to the Tomb of Tog. Explore 8 interconnected chambers showcasing Tog's inept mastery of the 8 schools of magic: illusion, necromancy, transmutation, enchantment, conjuration, abjuration, evocation, and divination. Will you survive long enough to discover Tog's 9th school of magic? This is designed for characters levels 1 through 3. The 24-page softcover zine with PDF can be had over at Exalted Funeral for $13.50. If you want to grab just the PDF alone, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $8. Sweet. This looks fun. Just strikes me as being kind of fun. Although I can't understand, if the village is overrun by rabbits, how are the people starving? Can't they catch some rabbits? Or are they all like Bugs Bunny and they outwit all of the villagers? I don't know. Do not know. All right. So Histio is popped on into chat. I mentioned Agile Monk. I will say hello to Agile Monk. I think that's everybody. I think I've said hello to everyone in chat. I hope you brought enough for everyone. Sweet. All right. That is it for the news tonight. Of course, I mentioned DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to swing on over to DriveThruRPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of the numerous One Bookshelf sites, stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I'll get 5% commission on most of those sales. And all those commissions really do add up. Help keep thegaminggang.com around. Of course, if you like the video, give it a quick thumbs up. If you're watching live on a mobile device and you got some hype points, feel free to sprinkle a few on top. Of course, if you enjoy the Gaming Gang and feel this is a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, there are a couple of other ways that you can support the outlet. First, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Look at that. The new logo. Dun, dun, dun. Makes that taste so much better. You can also become a monthly member of our Patreon, and you'll find information about all of that down in the show notes. Also, in those show notes, you'll find an invite link to our Discord server. It's absolutely free to sign up, so be sure to hang with the gang over on Discord. And of course, on all the live shows, I always like to give a shout out to our Patreon members. So, tip of the cap to Ben Oldthwaite, Kuval, Kevin R. Smith, Talzek, Peaceful Porcupine, William King, the Tabletop Scholar, Sean O'Donnell, Herman Lutman, Gustavo Cavallo, Kevin King, GameCat, RPG Munch, Tier 2 DM, Bar Adrift, Pete Stracklich, Dan Webb, Tessie Trekkie, Agile Monk, The Madman, and Flint Fireforge. Thank you all very, very kindly. Also have some contest winners to announce. That's right. On Tuesday's show, I took a live first look at X-Crawl Classics. I said it's the second edition. Somebody says it's the third edition. But the second edition was actually called Maximum X-Crawl. So I didn't count that as an edition. So to me, it's the second edition of X-Crawl Classics because it's the second edition to have that name. Just saying. Anywho, so the contest was to win a copy of the core rulebook in PDF. So we didn't do a trivia question. There was a contest. You had to leave a comment, a specific kind of comment on the video. And our winners are Michael Muirhead and Jeff Whitty Art. So, contest winners, whenever you win something on one of the dispatch contests, the way you go about collecting is to email me from your Gmail account that's associated with your YouTube nickname. And then I will shoot you a link to your prize. That's how it works for all contests. That is it. Pretty easy for you to do that. And it is Jeff McAleer at thegaminggang.com. And if you can't figure that out, you can always go to thegaminggang.com and you will see there's an email Jeff link up top. I think it's email Jeff. I don't think it's contact us, if I remember right. Anyway, some discussion of Bugs Bunny, that wascally wabbit. Yes. All right. So, not much cooking, really. Usually this is where I have some random musings. Oh, I know what I will mention. So, if you missed the opening of the show, I had said next week we'll probably have an episode where I'll tackle a topic, because we're not going to be doing first looks every show. We're just doing first looks right now because I don't want to say a glut of items, but I've got a few items. And we're still kind of in the wake of Gen Con. So I want to get the first looks out as quickly as I possibly can. But I also want to talk about a topic that I'm kind of curious what other people also think about. We're not going to get into it tonight. talk about it next week. I am thinking of rolling out an episode where we discuss if the Grognards are going to return to Dungeons and Dragons or not. I think both sides of the equation are wrong. We'll discuss. We will discuss. Unless I get something super like, oh my gosh, look at this, right? I did receive a couple of items today. Weirdly enough, I still haven't seen anything from Mongoose Publishing. I'm like, yeah, are we gonna go back to the like radio silence again? I don't know. Few people are mentioning their thoughts. Hold your thoughts until next week. But like I said, I think both. I'll say it this way: both extremes of the two conflicting thoughts, I think, are wrong. For one, they just revealed that the Dark Sun setting is not going to focus on slavery. Now, they didn't say it won't be in it at all. There won't be any mention of it, because if they're not going to have it in the game world, then why are you? What is the game world? Then you're not doing Dark Sun. You're doing something else. Because to my knowledge, and once again, I am not overly well versed in Dark Sun. I was long gone from D&D at that point. Well immersed in other role-playing games, including Call of Cthulhu. But it was my understanding that it's a dark fantasy setting. I didn't necessarily say grim dark. It is a dark fantasy setting, and the fact that some people are subjugated by other people's plays a big role in it. Madman says, isn't Dark Sun supposed to be released for adults? Yes. Supposedly, it's actually going to be in a black bag. Like, okay. Grouchy Lenny said, real Grognards never played any RPGs. That is true. Because Grognard is a wargaming term. Well, actually, we've mentioned this before. It's a French word dating back to the Napoleonic Wars. But yes, Grouchy Lenny is correct. It up until, I don't know, maybe last 5 years, I never heard anybody refer to the old guard of role playing. I think that's probably what we should refer to people as, the old guard. Still got that Napoleonic vibe, right? Because, grognards are just whiner. Well, okay, not whiners. They're complainers. They're veterans who essentially have nothing good to say about anything. Which, funny enough, there are some old timers who are like that, but not all of them. Not all of them. Kevin King's with us. Says, hence, Free City of Tyre. Tessie Trekkie says, angry old farts. No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, this is the generation before me. These are the people who experienced Dungeons and Dragons when they were in high school, when we're talking OD&D, when they were in high school or they were in college. So it's the generation ahead of me that I consider to be the old guard. I don't consider myself I consider myself old. I just don't consider myself part of the gaming old guard. I guess I am, maybe? I don't know. So, Tessie Trekkie says slavery exists as in Dark Sun is something to fight, to oppose, get rid of. Yeah, right. I get it. Shazam85 says, I used to pronounce it tier, not tire. I have no idea. I just took a shot. So, I mean, you could be correct. Dale Eric says, I'm an actual veteran of the old guard, so I'm not fond of the comparison. Well, when I'm talking old guard, I'm talking about Napoleon's old guard, and I highly doubt Daryl is a veteran of that. But what is considered the old guard now? Peaceful Porcupines popped on in, says, I didn't care for Dark Sun, partly because people around me who wanted to play it were too happy to throw in with the fash. Or they just didn't get it, didn't care. Yeah, just like there's some folks like Warhammer 40K, they don't realize it was kind of satirical to start with. Now they kind of like, I had to laugh because we got together for my nephew's birthday last night, and he's kind of dabbled a little bit in Warhammer 40K because one of his friends, because he's working on getting better at painting miniatures, but his one friend is painting Warhammer 40K. Well, Imperial Guard, although they're called something else now. I don't stay up on everything. And my nephew said he made some reference like a Warhammer 40K like fanatic would make, like the Emperor Protects, right? But it wasn't that. So it's funny, he said it and I caught it and I looked at him and I said, the Emperor Protects, and he just started laughing. And my brother's like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, it's a game. Daryl says the 3rd U.S. Infantry at Arlington, Virginia are they like the honor guard? They're at the cemetery. I'm asking. I mean, that's a legitimate. I'm not like, yeah, is that the? No, I mean, is that a unit of the 3rd U.S. Infantry? I went to Arlington once when I was in high school. Went on a tour of American Civil War battlefields with my dad, and we ended up swinging up into Washington and got to go to a couple of the Smithsonian museums, which were fantastic. One, the History Museum was one I had to go to, and aerospace. My dad, who was a pilot, private plane, Cessnas and stuff. So we had to go to that. But yeah, we also went to Arlington, so to pay our respects. So Gerald says yes, they were in the Caisson platoon. Very nice, very very cool. I apologize. I'm not one of these people who says thank you for your service because it's such a. But your service is appreciated. Just like we have quite a few veterans who watch this show. And seriously, I truly do mean that I do appreciate the sacrifices that people have made, even just, just in regular service. Those are sacrifices that people make that I don't think a lot of people realize. So, all right, let's see what else is cooking here in chat. Kim King says, I'm older Gen X, but millennial players almost always group them in with the dreaded boomers. Yeah, somebody called me a boomer, and I'm like, nah, I'm not I'm not. Sorry, I wasn't born then. So yeah, the Madman's a veteran. I know that. Peaceful Porcupine says, the trouble with games with slavery is that there's a lot of people who see it and think, I can own slaves? Cool. How much per head? I would hope that most people know their group well enough that they don't have anybody like that sitting around their table. Kim King says they've got similar issues with Warhammer players loving on the authoritarianism. Isn't it? Wait. God. It's authoritarianism? I always screw that up. You know, like dictatorships. All right. So, well, we kind of changed our topic there for a minute. But yeah, maybe we'll do a topic next week. Will the old timers come back to Dungeons and Dragons? Yeah, I'll throw my thoughts out there. Kind of talk a little bit about what I'm hearing through the grapevine as far as what's on the horizon for D&D. Like, yeah, if you watch my Gen Con recap that we were at the keynote, and I gotta say, there were a few things that I was kind of like, oh, cool, nice. There were a few things that were like, whatever. But, all righty. So tonight we're going to dive on in. Oh, you know what? I was going to show you what came today. And then I started off on a tangent. My friends over at Chaosium Inc. sent me Underground Overground for Rivers of London and the Noble's Handbook for Pendragon, because for some strange reason, those two books flew under the radar. I did not receive them. Because usually Chaosium's really good. Chaosium Inc., I should say, is really good at getting stuff out. I mean, I don't even have to ask for it. It just shows up. So Free League Publishing is like that too. Cubicle 7 Entertainment, they used to, and then they had some marketing person troubles, which seems to be a theme with companies these days. Kevin King says the excellent 4th edition Dark Sun material did not lure anybody back to that edition. Yeah, but wasn't that edition pretty much snake bit from the start? Because I remember when it first came out, I remember I read the core books probably about 2 years before 5e came out. And I just happened to read the core books just, for fun. They weren't even mine. They were Elliot's. And I remember when that came out, people immediately were talking about how they did not like the video game aspects of 4th edition, the MMO aspects of D&D. And then now I hear people say, oh, I wish we had the same like tactical options as in 4E. Like, okay, they were never satisfied. All righty. So tonight we're going to take a peek inside the Vast Grimm Starter Set from Infinite Black. But you know what? Before we do that, now I just feel like it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Alice, you missed with the toast. You missed with the eggs.
See you bored, Herbie. Try the coffee.
Coffee? Oh, your coffee's always a real treat.
This time it's instant Maxwell House coffee, like your mother makes.
Alice!
Herbie, you can't miss with instant Maxwell House coffee. You're just gonna love it.
That's great.
I knew it.
That's great tasting coffee, Alice.
Then it's all right about the toast?
Uh-huh.
And about the eggs?
Uh-huh. Just pour me another cup of that crazy coffee.
You can't miss with instant Maxwell House coffee. Right?
Great tasting coffee, Alice.
It's another fine product of General Foods.
This is the Vanishing American. The Vanishing American hamburger. It's been getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Well, Burger King is out to save the hamburger. With the Whopper. A hamburger so big, it takes an extra big toasted bun just to hold it. And we top that with pickles and chopped onions and fresh tomatoes and crisp lettuce. The Whopper. The king-sized burger you only get at Burger King.
Groovy.
Take the tribe to Burger King, home of the Whopper. The burgers are bigger at Burger King.
The burgers are bigger at Burger King. The bigger the burger, the better the burger. The burgers are bigger at Burger King.
The burgers are bigger at Burger King, home of the Whopper.
Groovy.
If your wife won't let you buy a Volvo, let her drive one. That'll really do the job. Once she gets the feel of it, she might like knowing you're getting a car that, in most cases, lasts long enough to get people out of new car payments and into new furniture payments or swimming pool payments or fur coat. Of course, if she still seems to have some doubts, let her drive a Volvo with automatic transmission. She'll feel right at home in that.
This is Wilkins Coffee, the finest. Oh, go soak your head. In Wilkins Coffee, a pleasure.
It was supposed to be a routine prisoner transport.
Williams was arrested on the suspicion of murdering 6 rail workers. The bodies were hung and decapitated.
But here, a million miles from home,
Hello? Anybody here?
Drop your weapon.
I ain't going back. They're about to discover nothing is what it seems.
We've got a situation here. Everybody in the mart's gone inside.
What the hell is going on out there? Whatever used to live here, we woke it up. It takes us. I'm talking about a kind of possession. Something's kicking out there. We need us, and we need you. None of us is going to survive if we don't stick together.
Come on. Time to stay alive. Second time I saved your life.
Yeah, run a tab!
From the master of terror.
Go! Get out!
John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars.
Damn, girl. I like you already.
So how about some really inappropriate commercials? Yowza! Although I have to admit, I would take a guess, coffee probably wasn't the only steaming hot stream that was ever aimed at Paul Lynde. I've heard stories about him. They make me feel sorry for the guy. He was supposed to be a very unhappy human being. But I think I've mentioned this one time before. If you ever want to see something that's just crazy, there is a Halloween special that Paul Lind was the host of. And it's got Witchy Poo, if you remember, like HR Huff and Puff or Huff and Stuff, whatever. Isn't it Huff and Puff? And then there was another show that she was on. Wasn't she in the show where they were all like hat people or whatever? So she's in it, and she's Witchy Poo. And Margaret Hamilton's in it. Isn't that the name of the actress who played the witch in Wizard of Oz? Puffin Stuff. Thank you, the madman. So she's in it. And there's like disco, because it's like a 76, 77. And then it's the first appearance on television by Kiss. It's like, what the hell's going on here? It's wacky. It is wacky. I believe you can, I think it's on YouTube in its entirety. Check it out. Right around Halloween, watch it and you'll be like, man, that Star Wars holiday special is bad, but so is this. All right, my pal Chuck Cumbo is with me and the gang tonight. Yes, from Troll Lord Games. In fact, we were just talking about that Codex Monstorum. I almost went Monstorum Codex, but that's not it. Yep, that was on the news earlier. And also, Ghost of Mars. I remember first time I saw that. I'm a big John Carpenter fan. It was a very big disappointment. It is not a very good movie at all. So who was it who was sitting there saying, oh, wow, that looks awesome. Oh, Flint Fireforge, just warning you. All right. Tessie Trekkie said the greatest Xmas special is Bill Murray's. Nice. Shozami says there was a parody of HR Puff and Stuff featured on the HBO series Mr. Show. It's titled The Altered State of Drugachusetts. Nice. All right. So tonight we're going to dive on in. We're going to take a look at the Vast Grimm Starter Set from Infinite Black. This is written by Brian Collin and Ross Brandt. The starter set will carry an MSRP of $35. Weirdly enough, you can't order it on the website just yet. So I got this from Brian Collin at Gen Con. So here's the copy right here. So I think they were like early release, basically. So we are going to take a peek. This is kind of an art punk horror role-playing game, science fiction horror. See what we've got here. So we've got, and no dice. So just pointing that out. We've got a crew member manual. Then we have Flesh of My Flesh, which is a starter set adventure. Then we've got, I think these are the character sheets. And I think we have crew sheets. Okay. So we got about 10 of these. And then I know, I guess these are the character sheets. Yeah. All right. Well, Don't know. This looks like this is a character sheet too. So these are kind of character worksheets. We got quite a few of those. That's kind of an interesting concept. So first thing we're going to take a peek at is the Vast Grimm booklet, the crew member manual. Vast Grimm is a rules-light sci-fi horror tabletop role-playing game, oozing with all the vibes. This B-movie-inspired splatterpunk RPG has the right amount of humor to offset the impending doom in the setting. Most of humanity has been infected by one of 6 parasitic worms that will eventually turn their hosts into alien hive mind zombies. Players create scum who band together as a legion to survive as long as they can, and maybe even find a way out of the verse before all hope is lost. Everything needed to create a character for the dying universe is contained in the pages of this book. This game can be lethal. You may want to go ahead and roll up more than one. The MSRP on this is $35. Kevin King says, so Death in Space or Mothership with the design aesthetic of Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland? No, I would say it's the aesthetic of Mirkborg. That would be my guess. All right. First of all, hey, nice thick paper stock here. So we've got our core mechanics for initiative. You roll a d6. 1 to 3, enemies go first. 4 to 6, the Legion goes first. If you want to do individual, it's agility plus a d6. So melee is strength DR 12. I wonder if the DR is like a DC. Range is presence. Defense is agility, all DR 12. Critical is on a natural 20, so you're using a D20 here. I assumed that when I saw the 12. Fumble is a 1. So we have armor tiers. 1 is minus D2 damage. Then 2 is minus D4 damage, but minus 2 on agility and defense tests. And then 3 is minus D6 damage, but minus 4 on agility tests, minus 2 on defense tests. So we have drowning, we have resting, battery charging. It says when plugged into a source, batteries recharge 3 charges per hour. So we also have solar charges. So a solar charger recharges up to 4 batteries at 2 charges per hour, if it's sunny, of course. So we've got our abilities and tests. So we've got agility, defend, balance, float, swim, flee, presence, perceive, aim, charm, wield, neuromancy, strength, crush, lift, strike, grapple. Tech is hack systems, use alien technology, pilot. Then toughness, resist poison, cold, heat, survive falling. So what is known? The universe is coming to a horrible end. Most of humanity's been infected by one of 6 different strains of devastating parasitic worms. When the worms find a host whose body they truly thrive in, they take over, turning whatever it once was into an alien hive mind species known as the Grimm. But somehow you're still breathing. Maybe you want to be some sort of hero and try to save what's left of the meat bags. More likely, though, you just want to survive another day. Or maybe you believe the rumors that a gate of infinite stars is being built as a way to escape this verse before it inevitably implodes. No matter what your motivation, there's always strength in numbers in the grim, dying universe. I will say there's a good amount of support for Vast Grimm. Quite a few releases, different books out there. Can't tell you exactly what they are, but Adam Parker has popped on into chat. Welcome aboard. I see Danny Gable has joined us as well. So building characters. Select your class or roll an 8-sided die. Roll skills with a Z and background for the class. Roll for abilities. Roll personality traits on the tables. Roll for your weapons and armor and starting equipment. Roll credits. Does that mean it's over? You're rolling credits? Oh, no, your money. Okay, I get it. Womp, womp. Buy gear. Roll your hit points, neuromancy points, and favors. Give your character a call sign, though it will be quickly forgotten once infected by the Grimm. So I would guess these worms probably give you some sort of abilities that you can utilize before they take over. So we have a table for your earliest memories, D6, D6 for the skills. So you have light-handed, bot eyes, ship for brains, taser face. Your face was horribly mauled in battle. When you awoke on a stretcher, one of your eyes had been replaced and now sports a taser shooting eye patch. DR10, 2d4 damage, misfires on doubles. On doubles? Were you rolling 2 20-sided dice? I would think doubles would be D6. Oh, maybe the DR is the die roll. The die you're rolling? I don't know. Got a rusty pincer and Cyber Kitty. Wow. This feral tomcat has claimed you as its half human. What flesh remains intact on this beast is mangy and covered in neon fleas. So our classes, we've got the Manchine. Part man, part machine. We've got the Soul Survivor. So I guess the earliest memories and skills are for this class. So then we've got traumatic loneliness. So rather than past memories. No Limelight Productions has joined us. Adam Parker says difficulty rating. Yeah, see, that's what I thought it would probably be. So I would take a guess. Adam Parker has quite a bit of experience with Vast Grimm. Chiming in with some answers here. Keith Lewis says, they call me Taserface. And everybody laughs their asses off. They call me Mr. Tibbs. I had to explain in the heat of the night to Elliot when we were driving, I think it was back from Gen Con, because he'd never seen it. I was like, you've never seen it? How could you have never seen it? It's classic. All right, we've got the Lost Technomaniac. The Twisted Biochemist. The Treacherous Merc. The Emo Bot. Yeah, sentient robot. Got the Devout. So yeah, so as you can tell, this really does have a art punk vibe to all the proceedings here. I will say I can at least read this stuff. You know, there are some of those, oh man, some of the awful third-party Mirkberg stuff that comes out that it's like, oh my God. It's like, so you're claiming this is a gaming release, but where's the gameable material here? All right, so we've got injuries, concussion, death kissed, mutated, festering wound, busted, survivor, bump foot, shot your eye out. You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Burst eardrum, cross wires, irritating idiosyncrasies. Full of shit. Everything you say is exaggerated in one way or another. Misspent Youth, Battle Scars. There's a lot of tables. So mechanically, this is going to be very, very simple, I'm sure. Optional D20. Doomed Legions. I'm trying to like flip through. I don't want to like show off every single page. So our armor, tier 0 is no armor. Tier 1 is leather, jacket, carbon fiber. Tier 2 is police grade carbon fiber body armor. Tier 3 is military grade mecha enhanced armored suit. Got encumbrance. Powers that be. Oh, favors. No Limelight Production says, I'm just not a big fan of how these kinds of books are laid out. I'll be very honest, I'm not a huge fan either. As long as I can read it, I'm not crazy about the art punk style. More often than not, I'm not a fan of art punk because it's far more art than actual game. There have been exceptions to that rule. Pirate Borg, for one. Pirate Borg is fantastic. Cyborg's good. I mean, really, the board games that have come out from Free League Publishing have been really solid. In fact, the one I like the least is actually Mirkburg. So you have the Harvester faction. Keywords. It's kind of our glossary, it looks like. So, in essence, there's our core mechanic. There's our rules. Rules of the game. Keith Lewis says, Starborg is a Star Wars game I never knew I needed. I've heard really good things about Starborg. All right, so that is a crew member manual. This is our quick start starter adventure. Flesh of my flesh. Keep in mind, it's an adventure. So, might see some spoilers here. So, quick rules. One of them is don't get too attached. It's easy to die and even easier to become one of the Grimm. After you play once or twice, then roll up your own character. We're going to have pre-gens here? Is that what's happening? So we get to what is known. That's kind of give us our setup, I think. What has come to pass? So, looks like you might be exploring a ship. Yep. That is what's going on here. There's the info about our captain. I've heard Vast Grimm is a pretty good game. Very rules light. I will say, though, for $35, this really isn't much in this starter set. I mean, you know me, gang. I don't blow smoke up anybody's ass. I call it like I see it. So we get, what was it, 10 of these? I mean, these are pretty nice. But I mean, it's still just paper. So trying to make sure, like, which way is the box top? And then we got, is it 8 of these? 10 of these? I think it's 10. So I'm going to take a guess. There's 10 of these and 10 of these. These are like the character worksheet, and I guess that's the character sheets. Then we've got a starter adventure here that's 12 pages. And then we've got the rule book, which is 44 pages. So you're looking at 56 pages and, some character sheets and stuff. So the reason why I mentioned the $35 MSRP on this is because the core rule book, which I believe is 122 pages, I think I'm 99% positive it is in like A5, like zine size hardcover, but it's 122 pages and it is currently on sale at the Infinite Black website for $30. So I will review this. Don't worry. I'm just, I just got to be honest, taking a peek through this. I mean, there's no dice, which, no dice is fine. But once again, you're looking at $35 for this box. I don't know. I don't know, gang. So, like I said, I will have a review of it. And yes, thank you to the fine folks over at Infinite Black for providing me with this review copy. Obviously, from my comments, you know that they haven't provided me with anything else for me to share this first look with you. Adam Parker says, compared to the Pirate Borg starter set, this is slim for the same price point. All right. This is night and day from the Pirate Borg starter set. The Pirate Borg starter set got a 10 out of 10 on my review score. It is, the dice are awesome. They're really nice, chunky resin dice. They're a little bigger than your regular average dice. Thought that was super cool. It's got the like introductory like rules and adventure, and it's an adventure that is not just wrapped up in like a session. Probably going to get maybe 2-3 sessions out of it easy. And yeah, I mean, just fantastic value packed inside. And yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I think the starter set for Pirate Borg is $39.99. Adam Parker might be right. It might be $35. I don't remember off the top of my head, but you know. Kevin King says, looks like the Vast Grimm core rules are pay what you want on Drive-Thru RPG. Well, as I mentioned, this isn't on the website yet. The PDF's not on Drive-Thru RPG either as of yet. So, don't know. I do not know. Grouchy Lenny says, not as densely packed like the Chaosium starters. Another company that just does phenomenal starter sets. I would say, oh, wow. I'm thinking, it's probably like 8:35. So I'm like, what time we got? I'm it's not even quarter after the hour. We got some time to chat a little bit. I will say that out of all the companies out there that do more than one starter set, right? Because there are some companies like Chuck from Troll Lord Games, they've got one starter set. It's their Castles and Crusades starter set, which I have also reviewed. But the companies that do multiple starter sets, I think on a whole, number one is Chaosium Inc. I think it's Chaosium Inc. And the reason behind that, I have yet to see a starter set from Chaosium Inc. that was a clunker. Call of Cthulhu, excellent. You've got weeks of gaming material in there. You've got the solitaire adventure to introduce you and your players to Call of Cthulhu mechanically. Then you also have 3 adventures, one of them by friend of the show, Chris Spivey. And they're all multiple session adventures. They're not just, it's a 3-hour adventure and we're done. So no. RuneQuest, oh my gosh. It is that starter set, fantastic as well. if I remember correctly, there's like 4 booklets in it. Once again, solitaire adventure to introduce you to the mechanics of RuneQuest. Then there's like a setting book. There's an adventure book that's got like 4 adventures in. It's like, wow. Semper Buffo says they got the Pirate Borg starter set based on my review and the one from Dungeons and Dyslexia. Glad we could point you in the right direction. Try to keep you away from, blowing money on stuff that's, not so great. Captain Infinity Time Travel Police is hanging with the gang tonight. Adam Parker says, I wish this starter set was a bit better because it's selling the game short. That's why I had mentioned I've heard good things about Vast Grimm, and I know it gets a good amount of support as well. This isn't just some, here's our starter set. We've got a core book. Here's our intro adventure, and that's all you're ever going to see. We see that all the time. Anyway, I got to say, Chaosium Inc. #1. I'm sure some folks out there are probably thinking, oh, it's going to be Free League Publishing. No. Actually, as far as companies go, they would be 3rd. Because they've actually had 2 starter sets that one I thought was just, what the hell is this? And then another I thought was, but then they've also had fantastic starter sets. The one that was like, what the hell is going on here was the Tales from the Loop starter set, which I think out of the 2 booklets combined had a page count, maybe 40 pages, 38, 40 pages. I was like, what? And it was priced like all of their, all their starter sets, right? So I was like, their Vesson starter set, big thumbs up. So it's like every once in a while, just like their the Walking Dead universe starter set. Well, it wasn't like on the level of the Tales from the Loop. I keep wanting to say Things from the Flood. That's the follow-up. So, I mean, it was better than that, but still it was also kind of lackluster, kind of a letdown. Another company, really, really nice starter sets. Our friends over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Their Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay starter set, excellent. Another starter set packed with gaming content. Not just, oh, here's an introduction to our game. Enjoy it for 4 hours, and now you're on your own. No, there was and the way they actually start off the introductory adventure, really, really nicely done. Then we've also got the Age of Sigmar Soulbound starter set, the Wrath and Glory starter set. Don't they have they've got an Imperium Maledictum starter set, don't they? We're still waiting on the Old World starter set. That's supposed to be, I think that's been delayed. I think it was supposed to be out, but it hadn't been. And if you're curious, the Castles and Crusades starter set, good stuff too. Maybe not up there with the Chaosium inks and stuff, but yes, I gave that a positive review. It's another starter set that's got a good amount of gaming in it. In fact, there's a little inside baseball. Chuck might be like, don't share this. No. So in the rule book that's in the Castles and Crusades starter set, it actually gives you all of the content up through 6th level characters. And of course, we're looking at a role-playing game that's got, levels into the 20s. In fact, I don't think there's a limit if you don't want a limit, but it gets to the point where you're like in millions of experience points. So I guess there had been some discussion. The next print run of the starter set is only going to go at the 3rd level. And I had talked to Stephen Chenault. This wasn't at Gen Con, this is before. And he said, no, it's going to stay to 6 levels. I'm like, okay. You don't see that. You don't see that with games. You usually see, a starter set gets you up to, if we're talking, like D&D levels, it gets you to 3rd, maybe. And that's usually if it's like with like milestone advancements, not experience point advancements. What was it I just taking a peek at that I did a review? I think it was for D&D, and it had like milestone leveling, and it was sort of like, okay, so your characters get up, they roll out of bed, they ask the innkeeper a couple of questions, and now they're 2nd level. It was like, I know I'm exaggerating, but still, I was like, what? They haven't done anything. How are they 2nd level? Maybe it was a Pathfinder book. I was like, what the hell? But I understand why we've got the milestones. And, it frees up having it, sit there and be like, oh, okay. Okay, so I got 114,619 experience points. Grouchy Lenny says, I mean, at least they could kill the rats in the basement of the inn. No, they didn't. They didn't need to get there. I was like, okay, maybe was it the Tales from the Vast for Starfinder? Maybe that was it. Where it's sort of like, okay, so they landed on the planet. They're walking on the planet. Now they're 2nd level. They have what? It's like they've maybe accrued 15 experience points. And we're talking the old school experience points. It's like, oh, you need 10,000 to be second level. All right. Kevin King says, first adventure in Dragon Delves for 5.5 E D&D rushes them through 1st level. I mean, I understand, there's 2 schools of thought. My school of thought, being an old timer, just not the old timer, is that you earn your levels, right? That's how I look at it. You earn the advancement of your character. Now, I don't want to be a game master or a player in a campaign where we play every weekend and 2 months into the campaign, I'm still 1st level. I'd be like, what's going on here? But then I also don't want to be the game master or player in a campaign where 2 hours into the 1st session, everybody's gone up a level. What the hell could have happened in 2 hours? But I do understand that, players want that advancement. And, we live in an age of instant gratification. As Carrie Fisher once said, instant gratification is great, but too bad it takes so long, something like that. Or instant gratification would be great if it didn't take so long. It's like, Grouchy Lenny said that instant coffee and a microwave gratification leveling. Yeah, sort of. Captain Infinity Time Travel, please, says, back in my day, we'd go into a dungeon, kill monsters, and steal their gold, which was the style at the time. That was Monty Hallism, as we would call it. And we were vehemently opposed to that sort of role playing in my group. Actually, we were. And sadly, I'm sure Captain Infinity had far better adventuring than just kicking in doors, killing something, moving to the next room, killing that, moving to the next room, killing that. But that was how some dungeon masters ran their games. And it was, I talk about today, that is not the sort of game I want to play. I like running a role-playing game. I try to do 4-hour sessions. So all told about 5 hours. So usually take, a couple of 10-minute breaks, maybe take a break to grab something to eat halfway through. In those 4 hours, there might be 2, 3 at the most combat encounters. And they are not going to be combat encounters that take an hour to wrap up. Because I just don't find the combat in role-playing games to be as satisfying in the long haul compared to the adventuring and the interaction that the characters have with NPCs and stuff like that. Daryl Errett says, I just don't like when characters improve at skills they may not even have used during adventuring. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I love Call of Cthulhu. I always like that advancement where it's like, oh, okay, so you use the skill in a situation where the skill mattered. Not just, oh, well, it was raining and I drove a car, so I'm going to mark off drive auto. No. But it was like, oh, well, we had this high-speed chase, and I had to roll drive auto a couple of times to avoid being in an accident or hitting something. Well, yeah, okay, yeah. And then at the end of the adventure, and if you're playing a long campaign, it would be like at the end of that chapter of that adventure, then all the players got to roll to see if they could advance their skills. And a lot of times, you might have 10 skills that you marked off. If you had pretty good, scores in those skills, you might not get an advance. You might not see an increase. But if it was fairly low skill, then you're probably going to roll a 10-sided die and add that. Boy, I'll tell you, I'll never forget. There were a couple of times where people rolled 1 on their skill advancement in Call of Cthulhu, and they were like, "What?" It's like, you rolled a die, I didn't. So let's see. Yes. Captain Infinity says, yeah, sometimes they take prisoners too. Kim King says they were at a Dungeon Crawl Classics funnel last night. There was a rough and tumble dungeon crawl where the dungeon was a space jellyfish. Nice. Very cool. Yes. Crunchy Letty says, I calculated the tip of the diner, so I'm checking off accounting. Yeah. I told you I'm kicking around trying to run some semi-gonzo post-apocalyptic role-playing game for the gang, because we are never going to get together and finish A Time to Harvest for Call of Cthulhu. I just know it. So I'm kicking around doing kind of a post-apocalyptic, not super silly gonzo, but a little bit of gonzo. Little Mutant Crawl Classic-ish without using Mutant Crawl Classics. Because I want to go really rules light. So I'm almost considering Mutineer Zero because it's dice pool for the most part. But with Mutineer Zero, with all the different things I want to incorporate, all that's not in the core book. So if I remember correctly, I don't think pure strain humans are in the core book. I think it's all mutants. I don't think because I think it's a later supplement, like Elysium or something like that. So either that or something very rad hackish, the black hack sort of around there. And it's not because I don't want any complexity. It's just I know the group I'm running an adventure for. So it'd be like, I don't want to have to sit there and explain a concept mechanically to them multiple times, only to have them once again look at me with like a blank look on their face when I say, okay, I need you to do this. Huh? What die do I roll? So yeah, so I'm kind of kicking that around. Maybe make it kind of like a West Marshes sort of thing. All right. Yes. So Adam Parker says Elysium's right. You need 4 core books to run full Mutant Year Zero. But yeah, mechanically, if I remember correctly, because it's been a long time, I want to say I think Mutant Year Zero is not super crunchy. Most of the dice pool role-playing games aren't super crunchy. Just yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, but yeah, I kind of want to do okay, so I'll explain why. So my nephew's girlfriend, who's super nice, and she'll play games with us. Not every game, but she'll play. So she was playing Call of Cthulhu with us, and she was having a good time too. And you could tell she wasn't just like, oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. Wasn't anything like that. Damn it, got something in my eye. Ah, it's a spider. Anyway. But I can tell it's not necessarily her bag. And she happens to be a real big fan of rats. So she actually has 3 pet rats. So I thought, well, if she can play like an uplifted rat creature, she might buy into. Plus, my nephew's a big fan of like Fallout and stuff like that. So, Troll Lord Games Chuck is asking what rules. I don't know. I'm kind of bouncing around if I want to do like Mutant Year Zero, which is actually pretty cool. I like the setting of Mutant Year Zero. And sadly enough, it seems like it's run its course. That all Mutant Year Zero is good for these days is to power other games from Free League Publishing. I guess. The Year Zero engine. But from the releases I had an opportunity to take a peek at, I thought they were pretty cool. I liked them. Either that or go with something like a BX retro clone or like a Black Hack. There's the Rad Hack. So, because I like Black Hack, I think Black Hack's pretty simple for people to wrap their heads around. So, probably something like that, and I would utilize maybe some Mutant Troll Classics adventures. I've kind of considered taking a peek at the America setting because it's supposed to be kind of bizarre. It's supposed to be kind of wacky. Like there's the Burger Wars. So there's like a Ronald McDonald kind of character. No Limelight Productions asks if I like index card role-playing game. Yes, I do. I do like it. And I have reviewed it as well. I don't think I would run it. Now, one of the things weirdly enough, I know one of the things that people Adam Parker says I could always get an old copy of Human Occupied Landfill. No. I had Human Occupied Landfill and its follow-up. That's some crazy shit right there. Not like fatal crazy, but pretty much it's a role-playing game that should offend everyone. And that's kind of its stated purpose, was trying to offend everybody. Buttery wholesomeness. Yes, that was the follow-up. Man, that's a blast from the past. That's not the first time that Human Occupied Landfill has been brought up. The show in chat. Adam Parker says they're an unpaid shill for Free League. Hey, if they release good stuff, you're not really being a shill. If it's, mediocre stuff, yeah, okay, that's shilling. Sort of like, But if it's something you really enjoy, no. Singing its praises, that's really not shilling. But No Limelight Production says they're a huge fan of Index card role playing. I really like it. One thing I think the aspect that I'm not super keen on is the I don't like where it's like, okay, so everything in this area is one die roll. So it's like, oh, okay, so this is more dangerous. So now everything's an 18 or higher. But, it's just me. But as you know, I wish I had an opportunity to take a look at, is it Heart and Crown? Skull and Crown? It was the fantasy role-playing game that's hankering for an ale released after. It's like, what is it? D6? 2D6? Or what is it? Easy D6, something like that, is another role-playing game that they roll out. So No Limelight says, yeah, that's fair. That part's not for everyone. Yeah, like it wouldn't be like a deal breaker, but kind of the thing with index card role playing to me, and I got the I think it was like the deluxe that had more like settings in it. I think the thing with that is everything kind of feels the same. It's just, it doesn't matter what the setting is. And there are some like really cool, fun mechanics in index card role playing. But like the science fiction and the fantasy, and if it was Weird West, superheroes, they all, setting wise, yeah, fluff wise, fiction, background, yes, different. But to me, it comes across as the actual gameplay itself. It's not going to matter what you're playing. That your fantasy role-playing adventure is going to feel like your science fiction role-playing adventure as far as how it feels at the table. I know, maybe sounds a little odd, me saying that, but so No Limelight says, yes, Easy D6 is good. Yeah, I've heard good things about it, but that's fantasy. So Trollord Games Chuck says that index card role-playing is great for on-the-fly simple rules. They were in a game a few months ago. Ninjas, Samurai, Predator, and Xenos. There you go. So No Limelight says they're a sci-fi cyberpunk guy. If I were going to run a cyberpunk, I would go Cyberpunk Red. Sadly, the core rulebook layout-wise is a mess. But Cyberpunk Red on a just per page cool stuff basis probably has one of the highest ratios out there. It is just jam-packed with cool stuff and cool ideas. That's why Cyberpunk 2077 is built off of that. There are people out there who think, oh yeah, Cyberpunk Red, it's built off of Cyberpunk 2077. No. CD Projekt Red licensed the Cyberpunk setting from Artel Games. So, Grouchy Lenny says their son and their buddies play Cyberpunk Red. Yeah, that would be something I would certainly run. It's just not something that I think my nephew's girlfriend would like. So, in order to keep my nephew playing, I think you all figured this out, right? So, to make sure he continues to play on a regular basis, I gotta, make sure that his girlfriend also enjoys the game we're playing. Like Elliot doesn't care. Elliot will play anything within reason. He may not play Human Occupied Landfill, or he may not play it more than once. Played that game once. Anyway, I'm thinking one of our topics in the near future is going to be 5 role-playing games that I think fly under people's radars, that really deserve to be like front and center. And Cyberpunk Red would be one of them. I know people, oh, well, if you're thinking Cyberpunk, yeah, sure, Cyberpunk Red. Not necessarily. A lot of people go like Cyborg. So, or, people just aren't familiar with it. So No Limelight says that's one of their favorites. They own all the Cyberpunk Red books. Nice. Like I said, sadly, the core book is not as intuitively laid out as it should be. In fact, I had somebody, I think it's a comment on my review of the core book, that they said they took the PDF and they actually broke the PDF up and they rebuilt the rules. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess, yeah. He said, yeah. And I said, the way they laid it out was just way, way more intuitive. It was far easier to understand as opposed to, well, there's one thing here and then something here. And then, oh, go back 20 pages to that there. Okay. And then, yeah. But yeah, what a cool setting. Really, really well done. It's also an awesome video game. Once they got the bugs out and added some more stuff to it. Really cool. All right, so that is it for tonight. Here we go a little longer. Don't have a show till Tuesday. Oh yeah, so so I have to take my Forester in to get 2 new head gaskets, and they're going to change the timing belt. Seeing that might as well do that while they've got the engine out. And putting in a new control arm, front control arm. Yeah, I'm so thrilled. But then again, I also understand if I do this, because the SUV itself is in really nice shape. But as far as I understand, because it's a 2010, I should point out, if I have this stuff done, I should be able to get about another 100 to 150,000 miles out of it. And I don't drive that much. So some of you may recall, if you've been watching for a couple of years or more, I had an old Cavalier that I had forever. It was a 1994, and it finally gave up the ghost about a year and a half ago. So, all right. Anyway. So that's it for this time out. Next Tuesday's show, we'll think of something. I don't know if it's going to be a first look. I think we might actually do the topic of are the old timers going to come back to D&D? Anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So that's it for this time out. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, get a tip of the cap, because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company while I'm sharing the news or taking a first look at something or, pontificating about a topic. I also know that not everyone has an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you for taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the channel. I really do appreciate it, truly. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for our latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are never going to see here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. Because not only, if you select all notifications, YouTube is supposed to not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It's also supposed to let you know when I share other videos. I've been sharing a lot of reviews lately, including my review of the Cypher character rulebook from Monty Cook Games. All right, everybody, thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and as always, certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.